Hello everyone out there on YouTube, and welcome to the first edition of Witches Brew, where I'm brutally honest about subjects that affect me or that have been stuck in my head for a little bit. Depends on the day. Now then, the subject I want to talk about today, while I fix my camera, my apologies, is D.I.D representation in media. Most D.I.D representation in media is awful. Just being blunt. Most of it represents us as serial killers in disguise who would snap in an instant and kill someone by switching. Or it gives us these superpowers. Now, to some extent the superpower thing is understandable, as certain others, alters, as everyone else calls them, have unique skills that you as the host probably do not. For example, one of mine, being Lulu, has a unique charm to her that attracts people to her easier. That way she gets more affection and more attention to herself. Not that I'm complaining. That being said, they take it to the extreme in these sort of adaptations. To the point of where they're getting superhuman strength, super speed, able to see in the dark. I've heard some people mention there were some movies where they're able to fly. Now, while under normal circumstances this wouldn't be a problem, if it's revolving around a real mental disorder, it is a bit of an issue. Because there's actually proven fact that if people see representation of a mental disorder in any sort of media, they immediately think, oh, it must be based on truth. This herd mentality is the problem here. And it has affected people like me for quite a while. Movies like Split are not a good representation. Anime and games like Danganronpa are awful representations. And it needs to stop. That is why channels like Dissociated exist. They are meant to educate people. I urge you to look them up. They are brilliant. Not paid to say this by anyone. I'm speaking facts here. Well, I suppose it can be taken as an opinion. Like, what do I know? But delving a little deeper into the representation aspect, you can certainly see that it's probably going to be problematic for certain people. Many people fear us due to these movies, to these shows, to these games. And it's not just one or two movies. No, it's been going on for decades at this point. Even spanning back to things like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is sort of where things began. Back then it was known as a split personality, before it got a proper name and a proper clarification on what it is. And what it is, as you may know by now, if you've actually been paying attention to me or other people with this disorder, it is a coping mechanism for trauma. It can be any sort of thing that you find traumatic. Now this is actually very important, because trauma is a person-to-person basis. One thing that can happen to one person and not be traumatic, while another person is heavily affected. A good example of me is actually medical and dental-based trauma. I'm now terrified of going to dentists or getting my blood drawn due to childhood trauma involving those things. And my others help me cope. They help me get through the situation with minimal effort. Or minimal struggle, I should say. That is what D.I.D is. It is not two individual personalities where one is normal and one is a serial killer. To assume so is ridiculous. Now, there is a common consensus that others can be about just about anything, but I believe it's taken out of context very often. They can be animals, they can be some of your favorite fictional characters, they can be ghosts, they can be pretty much anything. However, I highly doubt that there is one that is a serial killer that is going to come out and immediately get you in trouble. There's no reason for that to exist in a trauma-based disorder. Now, there are protectors who will fight off someone if need be. However, that in and of itself is a very different sort of beast. A protector is made to protect you, to protect your well-being, your body, to just generally protect you. Even if that version of protection is pushing someone and walking away. However, it could be taken to an extreme where fighting back is necessary. And while this isn't exactly common, as far as I'm aware, it may be more common than I assume now, it's very unlikely that someone who has serious trauma will want to fight. That is where the protector comes in. As you may have realized, I'm still learning myself, so feel free to educate me if I get something wrong. Don't belittle me, educate me. Logic. Now, looking into something like Danganronpa, it actually infuriated me to see this. At first, I assumed she was just hiding her true self, behind a terrified sort of persona. However, it's actually revealed in one of the game's puzzles that she has dissociative identity disorder. I'm not certain if someone just didn't do research, or if they just looked up movies or shows involving this. And I know it's made for more drama and speculation. And I know there's going to be people going, oh, it's just a movie, or oh, it's just a game. This has real-world implications. Think about this for a second. A young impressionable youth plays Danganronpa, even though they shouldn't. It's a mature game. And they see this character, who is revealed to have D.I.D. They immediately assume, due to the fact that they don't know better, that this is what all people with D.I.D. have going on with them. Some sort of evil side to them. No alter is evil. And I need you to understand that. Many alters can be misunderstood. And they could be ignored or treated badly by the host. I've been privy to this before. It's not a pleasant experience for the host or the other in question. Showing compassion to these others will actually help ease the tension and calm them down. And most of the time, they're just trying to get your attention to say, hey, I exist, and I need you to know that I do. What this usually does is elicit a fear response, which causes more issues. But reaching an understanding can help things, though it may take time. That being said, going back to the impressionable youth I mentioned, if they didn't know this, and they met a friend who said, yeah, I've got D.I.D., they may not want to be their friend afterwards due to fear. Same thing can be said for a movie like Split. Now, I have met some people with D.I.D. who said that it's not as bad of a movie as they would have thought, but it doesn't change the fact that it's awful in terms of representation. That does not accurately represent us. We're not going to be crawling up the walls at you. We're not going to be hunting you down with a weapon. We're people with trauma and a bunch of personalities to help cope with said trauma. And that is the T, Witches. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this first edition of Witches Brew. If you'd like me to cover a specific subject, leave it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. It may take a little time to research it. Or if you just want me to talk about whatever I feel like talking about, hey, that's fine too. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I always do. And you're beautiful, you're valid, and you're important. That is very, very, very important to me and everyone up here. And I will see all of you in the next video. So until then, goodbye.
I'm strange, and I like it. That's just the way I am. I can't change, I can't hide it. That's just the way I am. Might as well get over it, but don't try to understand. I'm strange, and I like it. Just the way I am. From a whisper to a shout, I'm what the buzz is all about. Everybody's bugging out now. Only just begun. They can riddle my
Can you even see me behind this? Like my makeup? Hello. This is actually kind of adorable. Like, this is everything. A witch with her Mimikyu, who is actively knocking my hat off. I don't think you can sit on my shoulder.